The gentleman up at the back. Yes, you, sir. No, not you. You. You with your arm raised. No, not you. You. The balloon and the tammy. You. Ask your silly question, please.
Does the panel think... Well, that's it. Does the panel think...
Good question. Dennis Law.
Does the panel think? That's a good question. That's a very good question. Does the panel think? Well, you know, as I say, I think it's not. It's very sad. It's very sad, very stupid, because you see, what you have to remember is, you know, I was lucky because I had a marvellous time at Torino with my best pal. It was Joe Baker, right? He was an Englishman, but Joe had very nice suits, you know. But listen, I tell you, the Italians really know how to make football boots, you know. They're very soft leather, you know, like little boots, you know. And you wore them in the field, you know. But I tell you, they knew the Italians over in Italy. They knew how to treat you, you know. They treat you like a king, you know, or an emperor, or something like that. But you know, I just say, well, you know, I borrowed Joe's suits and. I got the first plane home, and, well, that was the last time I played for Torino. What was the question again?
Right, well, maybe we'll come back to that one a little later. Let's have another question. What about you, sir?
What it is, does the panelists think that maybe as if when, like, for example, say they were to start to stop this and get for to deal with thing, what is, because it needs saying, and I'd like to know what the panel think about that.
So the question is, as I understand it, what is the future for Scotland and its football? George Best.
Well, to be honest, I don't really think I'm qualified to answer that. Seeing as I never actually played in Scotland, you know.
Well, actually, you once did play for Hibs.
I did.
Does that answer your question, sir?
Yes. And can I just ask Graham Souness what he thinks of Andy Roxburgh?
For sure. He's the best manager Scotland have had since the war. Like Gulf War. The 5-0 winning by Portugal was the final straw. Now that night, they played superb one-touch football, and we played superb no-touch football.
Ali MacLeod, did you think that in that match Scotland's tactics were naive?
Ah, well, I mean, delight. What does that mean?
Naive?
No, tactics. That didn't really matter because, I mean, at the end of the day, when we were the Argentine, they all said they weren't surprised that we got come because pride comes before a fall. You know, well, with this campaign, Andy Roxburgh proved that a low-key build-up comes before a fall as well. You know, you've got to feel sorry for the players because, after all, playing in the World Cup finals is a once-in-a-lifetime chance that only comes along every 4 years. Oh.
And speaking of the World Cup, I wonder what our experts' views are on the fact that this time it's being held in America. Dennis?
Well, I think it's an outrage. I think it's a scandal. I think it's a soccer atrocity because, you know, as I say, I mean, what do they know about it, you know? I mean, as I say, I mean, look at the way they run American football, right? In America. Now, I've got a guy, he comes on, he gets one kick, right? He gets one kick, he puts it over the bar, then it gets pulled off. Now, who does he think he is? Mixu Padalainen?
Tremendous, you know. It's just delighted, you know, because I think it's important for FIFA to encourage countries that don't really understand the game and can't play it properly. So, well, I think the World Cup should be played in Scotland.
Can I just say something here? To me, it doesn't matter where the World Cup finals have been played, just as long as Scotland are in them. And as I look at the current state of the Scottish football scene, I'm optimistic about the future. With managers like Alec Miller, Alec MacDonald, Sandy Clark, Tommy McLean, John McClelland and Jimmy Nicholl. The future of the Scottish game is clearly in good hands.
The future. I think there's not enough emphasis placed on football skills. To the kids today, I'd like to point out that I used to train by dribbling the ball around lampposts, which is great practice for dribbling around Scottish defenders. Although Scottish defenders aren't as mobile as lampposts.
I'm a bit worried about the financial state of Hearts. What do you think of Chris Robinson?
Well, he's not called the Pie Man for nothing. He obviously knows pure mince when he sees it.
Which Scottish footballers of the past did you admire?
All right. Well, the Giants, of course. Wee Jimmy Johnson. Wee Billy Bremner. Wee Wally Henderson.
What'd you think of Giggs?
Jim Baxter and I had to stop doing them. We couldn't get an audience.
What is your idea of a typical Scottish Premier League player?
A typical Scottish Premier League player. That's Mike Galloway. He's a player who always thinks one mistake ahead of everyone else.
Do any of the current Aberdeen squad impress you?
Well, tremendous, you know. I'd say Big Brian Irvine, because he combines physical presence with religious belief, you know. It's a sort of book-to-gate Christian.
I'll tell you, there are more questions than answers. And the more I find out, the less I know. But as one door closes in this superb Scottish soccer summit, another one opens. And for this striker, it's time to hit the bar.